even though I think he did a brilliant job in sort of telling a bit about me, I still think that my most favorite subject, or my most favorite topic, is me. So besides my career history and besides all of that, what I want to share with you guys is like what I really wanted to do in life. I was born in Lahore, raised there. So I did a little shopping. My parents used to take me shopping in Liberty, Anarkali. I used to see one of those shopkeepers selling artificial jewelry. Right. I wanted to sell artificial jewelry then. But as you can all see, I'm not doing any of that. Then I also wanted to be a painter. That also didn't work out for me, I guess. I scribble, but I'm sure if Sadkan had to say it, he would be churning in his grave right now. Next, what I wanted to do is, like, there's a long history, but what I did also, I realized that none of my plans actually worked. So what I did was I went with the flow. Flow actually worked for me. I could easily maneuver my way, and I got things done the way I wanted to do them. Okay, so I did that, but I landed my first job in ABN AMRO when there was ABN. That didn't go down too well. I was there for 3 days only. And then I got into, he spoke about Coke, my most favorite drink, Coke. That went on for 6 months. That wasn't too well. And then I also worked for Porsche. Who doesn't love V8, V12s coming in, 911s parked right in front of you? So a lot of rich people saw a lot of cash being spent on, you know, cars and everything. But in that course of time, I knew that this is not something that I could go on. And not that I'm totally aware of, like, whether I'd be doing something even now in the next, say, 5, 6 years. But what I'm doing today, what I'm doing now, is I'm truly passionate about it. And I hope to sort of continue it for the next several years. We put together a little presentation for you guys to sort of understand what were the reasons behind on this idea that we sort of generated. The idea is called Agaahi.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। हुकूमत ने बैनुल-सूबाई राब्ता कमेटी के मशवरे से फैसला किया है कि कौमी मर्दमशुमारी मार्च में कराई जाएगी।
At 8:46 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, American Airlines Flight 11, bound for Los Angeles, crashed into the North Tower of the World.
Obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center.
The plane was coming in. I know.
As the second mended, 2 other suicide bombers attacked the shrine's basement where people were washing for prayers. It was the second
and of suffering of those people caught up in the attack. People rushed to a nearby hospital and mortuaries as well. According to the presidential spokeswoman,
अगर एक कत्ल का कानून हो और वो कानून में ऐसे उसमें शिक हो जिसमें नाइंसाफी होती है, उसका ये मतलब तो नहीं है कि आप कत्ल
मुमताज कादरी ने क्या कहा?
Bhatti was on his way to work in the Pakistani capital Islamabad when an unknown gunman riddled his car with bullets.
हमारे लिए तो अभी तक ये मुल्क आजाद हुआ ही नहीं है। ऐसे हमें लग रहा है कि ये हमारा मुल्क ही नहीं है।
imagine there was only PTV. All you got to hear is the 9 p.m. news or the 8 p.m., you know, whatever drama was on. Now you've got this huge platform. You've got over 80 channels, 30 of them purely reporting on everyday event, everyday whatever happens. There's literally, I use the term breaking news diarrhea happening. So you know exactly whatever is happening and when it's happening. Last year alone, 15 journalists were killed. 15 is quite a figure. 2 of them I personally knew. And the only reason they were killed is because they weren't really, their capacity wasn't really developed enough to support, to report on extremism and terrorism. That's how Agaahi came. And not just this, our media has gradually, even though I've been part of it, but our media has gradually desensitized and misled our society. We become more radicalized and more intolerant. And the reason I say this is not because based on my sort of own manifestation of what the reality is. We did this small research, small in terms of sample size, but we covered a huge geographical area from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Sindh. The sample size, what we asked them is that, do you think that the content being played on TV, is it TV or print or whatever form, does it really help you or your children? Most of them got back to us. In fact, all of them said, it's actually adding to more intolerance within our society, what we see on TV. Those were almost 100% of respondents getting back to us on that. So we know there is a huge gap between an information and that information being transformed into knowledge. What we are trying to do with Agaahi is transform that information into knowledge footprint, both offline and online. How we do it? We do it through one of our programs called, one of the streams of Agaahi. Agaahi is just an idea. And it purely, like Pada said, it totally depends on the content that sort of generates. Now you've got all those tools and all those 20 million, I'm not good at stats, so you've got all those 20 million people and blah, blah. You've got population, 180 million right now, and we're going to sort of multiply that into some odd 300 million, say 25 years down the line. When all of these like stats you put in place, you kind of see what kind of stories we are going to turn up from Pakistan. Most international media reports on what gets reported from internally Pakistan. So if you've got 10 years of reporting on extremism, terrorism, and people who've lost loved ones, what kind of image does that leave? What kind of perception does it leave with the foreign countries? We've developed a program called, one of the streams called, Investigative Journalism and Responsible Reporting. What this program does, first, investigative journalism, we all know, acts as a watchdog itself. We're all new to all the democratic ways, hey PTI, hey PPP, and PMLN, and we love you all. But what it actually does, it would act as an accountability factor for all those political voices, for all those authority, for all those powers and all those people in authority. It is also going to give you, what a true democracy, and encourage what true democracy is. So the idea is more pluralistic content, more diversified content coming out of Pakistan. And the themes that we introduce in investigative journalism is not just investigative journalism and media ethics on its own. It's also how reporters can report during extremism, terrorism. Yes, we've done that, but so far, under a span of 3 months, we've trained over 400 journalists. Now, training 400 journalists, and these journalists have been reporting out of FATA, Peshawar. You've seen all those events. They've been doing that. I was part of most of them. Thank God, most I wasn't. But then there is interfaith. There is intrafaith. There are issues which are very relevant to Pakistan. There are issues that ensures the social well-being, the socio-economic well-being of our people, and sort of protects the national interest at the same time. Our journalists right now are aware of neither of those things. We help them develop a certain degree of capacity so they can report, and they can link their content to global agendas. So they're more relevant, not just in Pakistan, but sort of more relevant to people outside Pakistan. We ensure this by dovetailing it with an award-based mechanism. Clock is ticking, I'm almost done. Anyways, one of the other streams that we do, taking a cue from Badr there, one of the other things we do is we've created a curriculum, and it's online journalism course. So far, we've trained faculty coming from 11 different universities. And we're also in talks with HEC to sort of spreading the whole curriculum. The idea of online journalism is creating more voices and more relevant voices inside. The course that we tutored in Fatma Jinnah University was embedded with a bit of investigative journalism, a bit of media ethics, and to a certain degree, we also sort of embedded the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report that not only covered the educational attainment, the political empowerment, the economic empowerment, political awareness, and health and survival aspect. So we've geared almost 11,000 registered members on citizenpakistan.com to create content on those 4 verticals. So imagine those 4 when people start to report on those 4 verticals, you have more relevant, more objective, more impartial content coming out of Pakistan. And hence making it more, and more linkages. Having said that, I didn't know that I would be doing this 3 years ago. I still wanted to be, I don't know what, but I still wanted to do something different. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 3 years from now. But there's this one thing. If I don't do anything today, if I don't believe that besides creating value for myself, there is much value that can be created for others around you. You see the person sitting next to you, do you really care about his or her children? Do you really care about the future that they will hold? Or do you rather prefer your children or your family growing into a more radicalized society? That's the question. We work on content in developing counter-narratives. We develop counter-narratives not for ourselves, but for the future of Pakistan. So they can actually ensure that their social, their economic, and their political well-being are actually protected. Thank you.